The Galactic Institute of Historical Preservation stood as a monument to the collective memory of 12,000 species. Its crystalline spires stretched toward the violet sky of Centrum Prime, each one housing artifacts from civilizations that had risen, flourished, and evolved beyond their violent pasts. Professor Velthar, a distinguished scholar of the Crick species, prided himself on understanding the cultural evolution of every sentient race in the known galaxy, until the humans arrived. Lisa Chen stood in the Institute's grand exhibition hall, her dark eyes scanning the assignment brief projected before her. Beside her, James Morrison leaned against a display case containing what appeared to be ceremonial robes from the peaceful Elindri civilization. Both humans wore the simple gray uniforms of Earth's cultural exchange program, looking utterly unremarkable among the varied forms of alien students gathered for the semester's most prestigious project. Attention, scholars. Professor Velthar's translator device rendered his clicking mandibles into comprehensible speech. His 4 eyes swept across the assembled students, lingering perhaps a moment too long on the 2 humans. Your assignment is to recreate a piece of ancient armor from your species' pre-spaceflight era. This exercise will demonstrate how far we have all evolved from our barbaric origins. A murmur of excitement rippled through the hall. The Tazaran student began discussing their decorative exoskeletons, more art than protection. The Volnathi representative spoke of energy dispersion suits that had been used in ritualistic competitions, designed to prevent injury rather than inflict it. Lisa raised her hand. Professor, for clarification, how ancient are we talking? And do you want it cleaned or bloodstained? The hall fell silent. Several aliens' chromatic skin patterns flickered with confusion. Professor Velthar's mandibles stopped mid-click. I beg your pardon? He finally managed. Well, James interjected, pushing off from the display case. Humans have been making armor for about 5,000 years, give or take. We've got options. Bronze Age, Iron Age, Medieval Period, Renaissance, each era had different purposes. So which period do you want? And more importantly, he paused, meeting the professor's multiple eyes. Do you want us to present it as a museum piece, or as it would have actually looked in use? Professor Velthar's translator struggled with the extended silence that followed. As it would have. Looked in use? The concept seemed foreign to him. You mean to suggest that your armor would have been soiled? Soiled is a polite word for it, Lisa said, pulling up her holographic interface. Images flickered to life. Suits of plate armor, chainmail, scale armor, leather brigandines. Human warfare wasn't ritualistic, Professor. It was survival. Our armor got dented, scratched, pierced. It got covered in mud, blood, sweat. Sometimes your own, mostly someone else's. A Porlian student whose species had evolved from herd animals and had never known intraspecies conflict made a sound of distress. Her translator rendered it as something between a whimper and a gasp. Perhaps, Professor Velthar said carefully, his tertiary arms folding in a gesture of academic consideration, you could explain your species' relationship with protective equipment. For context, James and Lisa exchanged a glance, one of those uniquely human moments of silent communication that the aliens found both fascinating and unsettling. Humans are persistence hunters. Professor, James began, pacing slowly around the hall. His voice carried the weight of inherited memory, of genetic legacy. We're not the strongest, not the fastest, don't have natural weapons or armor. So we made them. We've been making weapons and armor for longer than we've had written language. But surely, interjected a Vex student, their translucent form shimmering. Once you developed technology, once you achieved peace, we're still making it, Lisa cut in not unkindly. Right now, Earth's most advanced materials laboratories are developing next-generation body armor. We've had peace, relatively speaking, for decades now, and we still can't stop preparing for war. It's wired into us. Professor Velthar felt something he rarely experienced. Genuine academic uncertainty. I don't understand. You are a spacefaring species. You have achieved interstellar travel. You participate in galactic commerce and cultural exchange. Surely violence is part of your past, not your present. We hope it stays in the past, James said quietly. But hope isn't a strategy, Professor. It never has been for humans. Lisa pulled up another image. A modern infantry soldier, then beside it a Roman legionary, then a medieval knight, then a samurai warrior. Different eras, same principle. Protect yourself so you can protect others. That's the thing about human armor, it was never just about individual survival. Shield walls, James added. Phalanxes, testudo formations. Human armor was designed for people who fought together, who held the line together. You protected the person next to you and they protected you. Fascinating, Professor Velthar admitted, though his chromatic patterns displayed unease. And disturbing. You speak of these violent practices with almost pride? Not pride in violence, Lisa corrected. Pride in survival. In adaptation. In the fact that when everything wanted to kill us, nature, other tribes, disease, starvation, we looked at the universe and said, no, we're staying. James walked to where Professor Velthar stood. You asked us to recreate ancient armor to show how far we've evolved. But Professor, our armor doesn't show how far we've come from violence. It shows how good we got at surviving it. Every piece of human armor tells a story of someone who refused to die. So, Lisa said, bringing the conversation full circle, 15th century Gothic plate armor? 12th century chainmail? Roman lorica segmentata? Pick your poison, Professor. And decide museum clean or battlefield authentic? Professor Velthar looked at his other students, species who had evolved past conflict through philosophy, through genetic pacifism, through hive mind unity. Then he looked at the humans, these persistent, stubborn survivors who had clawed their way to the stars not despite their violent nature, but perhaps because of it. Battlefield authentic, he heard himself say, his translator rendering his clicking as almost reverent. And perhaps you could give a presentation on the context. I believe we all have much to learn. Lisa smiled. That particular human expression that showed teeth and somehow managed to convey both friendship and warning. Oh, Professor, you have no idea. As the class dispersed, the other students gave the humans a wider berth than before, not from fear exactly, but from a newfound awareness. They had spent the semester studying dead civilizations and forgotten conflicts. The humans carried their battles with them, worn not as shame but as heritage. In the end, Lisa and James presented a replica of a blood-stained English knight's armor from Agincourt, complete with authentic damage patterns. The dent in the breastplate, they explained, would have been from a poleaxe. The scratches on the pauldron from sword strikes. The rust-brown stains from wounds that had bled through the joints. Professor Velthar kept it as the centerpiece of the exhibit. Not as a curiosity, but as a reminder that peace for some species wasn't a destination inherited through evolution. It was a choice, made every single day by survivors.